Hello, folks. Welcome to another episode of Technology Review. I'm your host, Mack Jackson Jr. My guest today is Allan Jocson from AGILITEC IT. We're going to discuss IT needs and services and a certain type of services that's called managed services that are offered to customers that are looking to outsource their PC needs and infrastructure. Allan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mac. Glad to be here.
Yeah, glad you're here too. Glad you're here too. So yeah, Allan, tell the audience a little bit about your company and what you guys actually do here in Las Vegas.
Absolutely. So AGILITEC IT, as you mentioned, is a managed IT services provider. We started the company in 2007, and we've grown organically over the years and serve multiple sectors of the business community here in Las Vegas and in other regions as well. So we do have a national presence, but most of our customers are based here in Las Vegas. So we service, anyone from legal offices to accounting to medical, manufacturing, and even multi-location fine dining restaurant groups. So really the full gamut of any businesses that leverage technology, which these days is pretty much everybody, right?
Absolutely.
So managed IT services, as you mentioned, is typically when a company wants to outsource their technology management, support, and administration to another company instead of hiring internally. And what we typically see is unless you have at least 100 employees, that company can't afford their own dedicated IT employee, or if they can only employ one. And that's never a good thing for any company to have one person, because that one person inevitably, potentially gets sick, or they certainly need to go on vacation. And with IT so critical and technology so critical for companies, that's going to be very difficult for that one person to be able to support, right, this company. In addition, typically one person doesn't have the skill set to provide most companies with the full gamut of what technology requires, right? So we'll provide our clients with, from the entry level is what we call help desk services. So if a user has problems with their technology, the computer, the network, anything technology based, they can call us 24/7 or email in a ticket, or we also provide all of our clients with their own dedicated portal where they can see all of their current issues, statuses, et cetera. Right. So, and then the IT people that keep everything up and running, that configure your environment, maintain your network, watch over things, and essentially keep the lights on. And then we also have our higher level IT people that act as IT directors or virtual CIOs, if you will, and we work with our clients regularly to develop strategies. We call it a strategic technology roadmap. So all of our clients, when we engage with them, we lay out a 1, 2, and a 3-year plan to ensure that technology is aligned with their business, which is very important because it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
So you basically take the worry or as we say in law school, the transfer risk, the risk that a company would have within an organization, they're basically transferring it to another company that you guys and your company are taking control of that risk away from the client.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have 3 major pillars, of our role that we think about with our clients. So, our major pillars or our major functions with any client are, we're here to either make them money, save them money, or reduce risk. And these days, reducing risk is quickly moving to the top of the priorities for most clients due to current trends with hackers and people wanting to steal money or steal identity. Unfortunately, is the big one.
Yes, exactly. So let's take let's bring it a small situation or scenario here. A company that, like you mentioned, having PCs within their office, and they're having one person to manage them. And that one person is in charge of IT. So they basically, that one employee would have keys to the castle.
Kingdom.
Keys to
Yeah.
the kingdom, right?
Right.
And what you guys are doing is saying that, hey, rather than doing that, let us manage those services offsite in the cloud, because your company spends thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on servers that the actual individual customer would not spend or could not spend that type of money in the maintenance and the security of those servers to take care of them. So, but the benefit to them is they're having their data hosted in the cloud or on your servers that are protected with a highly skilled team of IT professionals. And that's a huge benefit for customers that they can take advantage of that. The reason why I mention that to you, because it's now in our crisis that we're going through, people are working from home. And as they're working from home, they're setting up their laptops in their bedrooms, right? And their laptop is not the same as working at the office, where they have an IT department that has the perfect VPN setup, the great firewalls, and all of that. People bring their laptops home, and now it's a little bit more vulnerable. Although they can tunnel in using VPN, but a lot of the times I've noticed employees are doing this stuff on their own, logging in. Their routers they have set up at their home are not been sanctioned, if you would, or
The consumer grade equipment.
Yes. Consumer. Thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for. Consumer equipment.
Right.
And that weak link there is that in that router, their router passwords are not something that an organization such as yours would establish. They're using simple passwords because it's their home network that their TV sets are connected to and their IoT devices. But now they're also running their their workplace and home too on that same network. So it's really interesting to see this dynamics change with businesses now, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And this has been a trend that has been happening in the last few years in terms of what you referred to as people using their own devices. This is not, new because of current situations, current requirements to work from home due to COVID. The trend was already starting to happen where we call it BYOD, right? Bring your own device.
Right.
A lot of companies that encourage their employees to do that. Well, that, due to the rapid shutdowns and everybody having to work from home, that got accelerated significantly. Right? So bringing it back to the traditional corporate environment, like you referred to, where everything's behind a firewall and a gated environment, this safe corporate network that people were managing, you could implement some sort of security around that to keep the bad guys out.
Right.
All of that has been thrown out the window, right? And even really prior to COVID. So that's when a few years ago we identified that and started shifting most of our clients to what we call a zero trust environment, right? And that's critical when systems are in the cloud. Essentially, your data is no longer in your safe corporate network, if you will.
Right.
Data is really now being spread out. And this is not just for us, and it's not just for larger companies. Think about it, almost all companies, yes, they may have some corporate data on their systems itself, but more than likely, they're also using SaaS apps or software as a service applications. And
That's
now
right.
that data are on multiple computers, because the cloud are really just somebody else's computer in another network. That's really all it is, right?
That's right.
Typically consumed by a monthly subscription, right?
Right.
So in the end, it's still somebody else's computer. So if we can, when I say zero trust, if we assume that the devices, if we have the assumption that the devices that you're using are insecure, which you referred to, yes, people are using home devices, their computer or their laptop that they may be sharing with their children that are running Fortnite.
Yes.
Right? And now they're logging into their company network. So now we start with the assumption that, yes, you're already accessing from an unsecured device. So we have zero trust that this device is secure. So now what we do is we focus on the data itself to ensure that the data itself is protected. So yes, we may allow access from an insecure device, like you were mentioning, a home laptop or a home network, but we'll put additional restrictions around that data itself, not the device, to ensure that it's protected and it's not getting into the hands of people that shouldn't have it. So it's a different paradigm, a different way to think about it.
I think you just answered a $65,000 question too, that clients and potential prospects are looking for answers to, because you're right. Now that employees are working from home, their workstations are now exposed to hackers. And of course, hackers look for the low-hanging fruit. And if they can hack into their son's game, he's playing Fortnite in another room, and then tunneling access to mom and dad's workstation, has access to the bank, bam, they have access to information there. So what you're saying is your company can identify that node is unsecure, but you can protect the data that's going back and forth, so the hackers won't be able either to see it or notice it within this network system?
That's correct. We look at more behavior or where data is going. So if we can assume, we take a baseline look at the company's data and where it's currently stored, and who's accessing it, and now we're looking for anomalies to determine when something is not normal.
I see.
So if all of your employees are in Las Vegas and all of a sudden we see your data going offshore, to South America or to China or to Russia, that's a big red flag.
Yes.
And we will notice it and we'll wall off that data and determine whether or not that's authorized. So there's multiple layers, like any security. Security requires multiple layers.
Sure.
That's not the only red flag, but we'll do things like, okay, is this a trusted device? Well, that trusted device we have some management on will allow easier access to that data. But in the case of, okay, this is a home laptop, we're going to make this user jump through multiple hoops in order to get to that data.
Yes.
So whether that's MFA at the baseline, so multi-factor authentication, they're going to log in and then we're going to verify that this is the user, right, and ping them additionally.
And you forgot the COVID-19 test they need as well in order to log in.
That's right. Yeah. We'll reach through the laptop and swipe right through their throat.
Right.
That's not quite there yet, but it's not that far off, right?
Right. Very good. So when you notice these anomalies, that data may be transported or being accessed from an unknown area that hasn't been identified, do you immediately shut off that connection instantly, or is it like?
In some cases, right? There's levels, right?
Yeah,
there's levels. And that's important to work with the existing client to understand what their comfort level is.
Right.
Okay. So is this a bank? Is it a doctor's office with HIPAA requirements? Right?
Yes.
Or is it an auto body shop? Where maybe if the data gets out, it's not that critical, right?
Right.
Whereas patient health information or a finance firm with social security numbers, we're going to be much more restrictive in those kinds of environments. So, we look at security and convenience on a sliding scale, and it just depends on where people are. Because as you know, the more secure it is, the less convenient it is. And there's going to be a risk tolerance level for everybody. Every company has their own. So we work with our clients to determine where that is. How secure do you want to be? Right? Because if we ramp you up to 100, you're going to have a lot of hoops to jump through, right? I mean, you're talking about a major, maybe a government entity that's dealing with highly secure data. Yeah, you're going to probably ramp up as much as possible.
Right. Yeah. Right. For sure. Okay, well, some of the things that you and I have been talking about and projects we're looking to work on in the future is cybersecurity awareness in the workplace. So let's get your opinion on cybersecurity awareness. Do you see that organizations are looking into that or taking it more serious now that it's been all over the media and it's starting to expose more with all these data breaches that have been happening all over the place?
Yeah, I have seen awareness pick up on that. Right? I mean, and our opinion is, again, referring back to security being a multi-layered approach. There is no one solution that's going to 100% protect you.
Right.
but it always comes up that the biggest target, the biggest hole in your network are your users,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Social engineering and
Mm-hmm.
phishing attacks, right, where the hackers are sending fake emails, and even now fake text messages, etc.,
Yes.
posing to be the CEO or the controller, faking people into giving them their credentials. So
Faking them out.
even if you've set up all of these security protocols, if you're handing somebody the keys, your username and your password are essentially the keys to your office,
That's
or the
right.
keys to your data, then most protections will break down at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You basically just gave them an open door.
That's right.
Yeah.
I
So training the users is critical.
That's right.
the end result. Yeah.
I sometimes ask my clients, or when I'm doing my presentations, have everyone to take their phones out, and I'll ask them a simple question: how many of you in the audience have antivirus software on your smartphones? They're like, antivirus software? No, I have it on my laptop at work, but not my smartphone. Or how many use a VPN? And they're not sure what that is, but they've heard it from their laptops. They're not used to it on their smartphones.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems, especially now with these small computers, basically the phones are, that hackers are looking for the low-hanging fruit. And like you were saying, if a hacker can compromise or data breach a smartphone, they'll basically can have malware just sitting in wait for data to be entered using keyloggers that can allow them to tunnel into the gold mine, right? Where they're looking for it. And having that type of awareness and training companies and employees are very, very important, so they could see what happens when these type of attacks has occurred, and giving them the knowledge base of understanding that these are some of the things that hackers are doing, that they're spending time 24/7 in mastermind groups like how you and I are talking, being the good guys.
Yeah.
There's groups of organizations having meetings like this, looking for vulnerabilities, ways they can break into systems. So our job is to make sure that clients are up to date and knowledgeable of what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. This is no longer, hacker kitties in mom's basement, right? This is not that's not today's world.
Right.
These are nation state actors, right? Highly trained.
Highly trained.
This is organized crime.
Mm-hmm.
This is big money, right?
Yes.
They've identified that this type of crime is much safer than physically breaking into a bank or physically robbing people.
Right.
They can obtain millions of dollars while sitting in their homes and accessing over the internet. And blanketing the world with these attacks.
Right.
It's big business. Yeah. On the dark web, there's even advertisements for these hacker groups where it's a full corporation. They have performance reviews. They have a plan to be promoted within the company.
That's right. They have strategies, KPIs, the whole thing.
That's right. This is the new world, and these guys are professionals, right? And they are trying to break in and take your money, take your data.
They're working on the dark side of the force,
Right. And I think you pointed out something very critical in that, these guys aren't in there to just break in and take something right away.
Right.
What we're seeing these days is they break in and they'll sit dormant and wait for a larger opportunity.
Absolutely.
Most of the big breaches that have happened, they've determined that these hackers have been in the network for days, weeks, months, right? A long time, undetected. That's absolutely where it's critical that there's systems in place to be able to detect them, to be able to detect those anomalies. Because like you said, current antivirus is not enough. That's just one piece. Antivirus is not going to detect a hacker that's already broken into your network.
That's right. It's already
now
there.
You need, they're there. They're reading your emails. They're watching for opportunities, and once they see that opportunity, for example, one of the biggest hit markets right now is real estate.
Yes.
They'll break into. All they need is access into somebody's email account. And they'll watch for those large wiring transactions. And when they see an opportunity, they'll step in and say, "Oh, actually, don't wire that 100,000 to this bank account. We changed banks.
Right.
Please wire it to this account instead."
Yes.
And coming from the person that got phished.
Right.
And and so you
I've
look
seen
at ballots, it happens all of the time. Right?
Yeah, and to your point, I've seen examples where they would sit back and read the email communications between the CFO and the accounts payable manager, right, or accounts receivable manager. And as they're reading their emails back and forth, they're understanding the tone of the language and how emails are designed, right?
That's
So
right.
now they can send the email and say, hey, how's the kids? Or
Right.
a certain comment, a certain way of phraseology, how they're communicating, where the other person is believed that it is coming from the CFO for this fictitious wire transfer, and they will
Right.
basically do it. There was a situation with one of the celebrities on Shark Tank.
Yes, Barbara Corcoran.
Yes, yes.
A huge amount of money.
Incredible.
Huge. Right.
Huge amount of
It's
money
gone.
she lost from that. Yes,
Gone.
totally gone from that.
6 figures. Six
Yep.
figures.
6 figures,
Yeah.
gone. And the hackers knew that. They sat and wait. And because I always tell my clients, hacking or cyber attacks, it's not an incident, it's a campaign, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sit and wait. I
Yeah.
tell you, mine's in my martial art days. Is sit back like a cobra waiting to snap, to
Right.
strike.
Strike when the opportunity is hot. And
Right, when opportunity is hot, right?
right.
And like you're saying, they wait for other transactions because as researchers like you and I, we may put in test data or create a honeypot to try to capture some of those hackers, right?
That's
so
right.
we'll put something out there, and a hacker will look at it, it's like, nah, that's not enough, so we're not going to touch it. And then we'll think, oh, this must be cool. This situation must be cleared. Well, no, it's not. They just waiting for the bigger ones to strike.
Right.
It's a cat and mouse game.
Well, it is. It's and again, that's where training comes in. Right?
Yes.
The training is critical, and it's not a one and done thing. It has to be a regular process, for any company, to where people have to be trained. And actually, what we're finding are cyber insurance policies. If you want to be able to get a cyber insurance policy for your company to protect you just in case you get ransomware or if you get breached and have to pay out large amounts to your clients, right, or to your customers if data gets out.
Right.
And this especially happens with medical companies or finance companies.
Sure.
There's heavy fines that come through for every single patient or customer record that gets out. So that's where insurance will come in. Well, insurance is getting savvy because they're paying out a lot of money now.
Yes, they are.
And insurance companies aren't in the business to pay out money, right?
Nope.
So they want to reduce their risk. They're trying to reduce their own risk.
Yes, they thought they were going to make a lot of money from this because it's like, oh, wow, everybody's going to jump on it because of the fear. They'll sign up for these policies. But now they're going, oh, wow, there's a lot of, we're paying out a lot of money for this.
We're paying out a lot of money. So we better make these hoops to jump through, right, to ensure that the companies are secure. So what we're seeing now, our insurance policies are smartening up and saying, well, we need to evaluate these companies to ensure that they're following appropriate security guidelines, right? Multi-factor authentication. Is your data encrypted?
Yes.
Are you doing employee training on a regular basis? Those are big, big things in insurance policy.
And that's some of the things I'd like to work on with you in the future here for projects. I've talked to a couple of insurance companies that have put the idea to their underwriters about having a third-party company like my company or your company that can go in and evaluate if the stated insurer has these certain particular requirements, like annual training or biannual training. And if they meet those things and have biannual training, then it can possibly reduce their premiums or make them insurable, right?
Correct.
So those are some of the things that goals I'm looking to bring to the insurance market even heavier, letting them know that having an outside company, consulting firm that can evaluate these individuals, insured companies, to make sure that they're on target with training. Well, Allan, man, this has been a great conversation. I hope to have more of these with you. Let's talk more about the cyber attacks in future episodes of Technology Review on my show, about the type of cyber attacks that happen to large corporations, as we've heard, like, well, just name one.
Target, Yahoo,
Target, there we go.
Right.
all of
Right.
it,
Everybody.
to the ones we
IRS.
don't hear about. Yeah, the IRS here, right? To the ones we don't hear about, the little mom and pop organizations that get hit too, the low hanging fruit, and what these companies can do to try to tighten up and mitigate some of these cyber attacks in the future.
Yeah, I think that's great. I'd love to.
Cool. Well, I want to thank Allan Jocson for being with us today for AGILITEC IT, and man, I really appreciate the knowledge he's been able to share with us. And folks, you could find information about my company, my show, and Allan's as well. Go to my website at mackjacksonjr.com. And Allan, what's your website again?
It's agilitec.com, AGILITEC.com.
All right, very good. Very good, folks. And folks, remember, stay cyber woke. Until next time, see you then.